Hey guys, this is Corrine at Angels Haven, and this is going to be a very funny video. How can you tell it's going to be a very funny video? First of all, my hair is all messed up. Second of all, let's see if you can see them. I have dishes in the sink. And third of all, it's 10:30 at night. Anybody who knows me knows that at 10:30 at night, I'm usually asleep. Well, okay, not asleep, but at least in bed. So, why am I making this very funny video at 10:30 at night with my hair all messed up and dishes in the sink? I'll tell you. I've had a stressful evening, and I'm going to share it with you because I just watched a video. Pardon me for moving the phone. I just watched a video on 10 things that this video blogger hates about living tiny, and I thought, I think while I'm feeling kind of goofy, I'll make my own video, 10 things that I don't like about living tiny. And because I have the phone sideways, I have no idea where the lens is at this point, so I hope you can see my eyes. So, why is my hair messed up? Why am I still up and doing dishes at 10:30 at night? That's the, let's call it 10 on my countdown list of things I hate about living tiny. Okay, hate's too strong a word. Things I do not like about going tiny. So what happened today, let's see if I can get it in the picture. Okay, this is going to be kind of crazy. Do you see this pile of tubes? Okay. That is a shelf which collapsed. Admittedly, not a very expensive shelf. It had plastic parts, and it had metal parts, and it had other plastic parts. So I had that shelf in this cabinet. See the cabinet? Now, when my builder built my tiny house, and I'm going to turn around, you can tell I'm really goofy because usually I don't do this. So, you can see behind me. If I had a real video camera, this would be really great. See the stove? Stove is right here. And right next to the stove is this cabinet. And my builder said, you're not going to be able to use that corner cabinet because the stove butts up against it. Well, that's like 4 feet of cabinet. I said I have to be able to use that. That's 4 feet of cabinet. And in fact, it's most of the cabinet under the kitchen counter. It's about half of the counter. So I had put that shelf in that cabinet, and I had things on the top shelf of it and the things on the bottom shelf of it. And today I was getting something out, and I thought to myself, that shelf is going to collapse, I could tell. So I was sitting on my little bench, and I was taking things off the shelf, and sure enough, it collapsed. It broke one of my measuring cups. So, number 10 on my countdown list. Really strange storage problems. Like a cabinet that's incapable of being used because your stove is butted up against it. And that's important in a tiny house because you don't have a lot of storage. Okay, that's number 10. Number 9 on my countdown list of things that I find difficult about living tiny. Having guests over. We all know that I don't really have a couch. I have my bed fixed up like a day bed, no matter how comfortably I arrange the pillows, and I'm going to walk over and sit down. Again, when I'm grown up, I want to have a real video camera. But I'm going to sit down. Ah, look! Okay, I'm 5'3". The board next to me is the floor of my writing loft and the ceiling of my daybed slash couch slash bed nook. So I duck under it, and now I'm sitting on the couch. Pardon me, you have the light right in your eyes. And it's fine for me, but if you're taller than 5'4", it's not so good. See how, oh, I didn't explain the hair. So when I was sitting on my bench, taking everything out of that cabinet, the clip came out of my hair. So that's why my hair is all messed up. So not only is the couch a problem for having company, but even though I have this absolutely beautiful live edge table, I'm going to sit at it so you can see it. Right now it has the broken shelf on it. Okay, I have a very beautiful live edge table, cherry table. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. Right now it has the broken shelf on it. But it's a great table. However, it only fits 2, maybe 1.5. One person can sit at the length of it, and one person can sit at the end of it. In my house in Kansas City, I would regularly have 22 people for Thanksgiving dinner and 8 people for just a regular dinner party. So entertaining is an issue. I don't really have a good table. I don't really have a comfortable couch. I now have chairs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people if you count my writing chair. They are not really commodious for just casually sitting around more than 2 or 3 people at a time, and suddenly the chairs are just there. So that's an issue. And frankly, I used to entertain all the time, but now I'm not really sure I'm going to do. So that's number 9. Number 8, and this was on her list, is the composting toilet. Now, I like my composting toilet. I don't mind using it myself, but it's really difficult for guests to understand how to use it, and they feel a little self-conscious about it. So that's a problem, and I don't know how to solve it, because the only way to go off-grid really is to have a composting toilet, and assuming I live that long, I'd like to go off-grid in a couple years. So that's number 3. I'm going down. 10, 9, 8. So number 7. I would say clothing is number 7. I have 2 very large drawers of clothing and 21 inches of hanging space. The 2 large drawers of clothing I have divided between winter and sleeping clothes in one drawer and more or less summer clothes in the other. 21 inches of hanging space is actually a lot for a tiny house, but they're all crammed together. They're wrinkled. I bought a clothes steamer so I can steam them. It's enough space. It's just weird space. So all my clothes in these big drawers are all folded and crammed down. Frankly, the solution I've come up with that, and here you've got to see something other than my washer. The solution I've come up with regarding that is to get rid of more clothes. I already got rid of 12 feet of hanging clothes and an entire dresser drawer. But honestly, there's no point having clothes if they're all folded and crammed in a big drawer and you can't wear them without spending a half an hour unfolding them and steaming them and looking under other clothes. So I think I'm going to go through those drawers and downsize. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, clutter. Believe it or not. Okay. Can you see behind me on the kitchen counter? Now, pardon my hand. If I had a bigger kitchen, that would not look like a lot of stuff, but it looks like a lot of stuff in a tiny house. And again, the only way to solve that is to get rid of stuff. Now, I thought about having closed cupboards in the kitchen, and then you wouldn't see all that stuff. The reason I didn't do that is because I felt like it would make the house look more closed in. So tomorrow, I am going to go through all that stuff, get rid of more stuff, go through the big drawers, get rid of more stuff, take it to the thrift store and donate, move on. So where am I? 10, 9, 8, 7? Let's see. Am I at 6 yet? I'm kind of losing track. I should have gone just started with 1. Anyway, the next thing I have a problem with is dirt. Now again, that was on this woman's list, and it might be worse for me because I live in an RV park, but I track a lot of dirt in here and I sweep up. And as Pat Reynolds, who recently visited me, can tell you, I don't sweep up very often. I think she swept for me. If I wanted to keep this place actually clean all the time, I would sweep every day, maybe twice a day. I did get a little electric broom. I had one in Kansas City, but I left it with the new owner of my house, along with other things that I left her. The one I got here is actually better. I like it better. But anyway, that's a problem. I have to clean quite a bit. I'm going to say we're to 3. I hope one of you all are counting, and you can put in a comment whether or not I actually had 10. But 3. Movement. I'm going to see if I can turn this around and show you. Can you see that picture on the wall that's crooked? I must straighten that picture 100 times a week. Did you see it? I hope you saw it. I'm going to look at the video to see if you see it. So I am on wheels, and I do have 4 jack stands under my tiny house. I think I probably need 2 more. I talked to the owner of the park, and he kind of agrees. But the house does shift. The ground settles, the house settles, the pictures settle, the curtain rods settle, everything settles. The garbage truck goes by, the house vibrates, it's on wheels, it's on axles, it's on dirt, things shake. I worry about my goblets that I have displayed in the transom windows. It's kind of a problem. Now, if I got rid of more art and more of my crystal, I wouldn't have that problem quite as much, but I wouldn't feel as comfortable here as I do the way it is now. Now, I think I'm down to like the number one thing I don't like. Let's pretend I've done 9 already. And I'd like to comment, for those of you who are planning on going tiny, this woman said her biggest problem with going tiny was that people judge her. She said people make assumptions about her. She said, "You're probably judging me right now." Well, I don't agree that that's a problem. Now, I will say, and I'll try and find her video and link it in the comments somewhere or in the description, this woman looked like she was maybe 30, 35 years old, something like that. She was very beautiful, blonde, looked like she was in good shape. She talked about hiking, so she probably was. She might not be as used to being judged as I am. People have been judging me all my life. I had a conversation with my sister Joyce today about setting boundaries. We might have dropped a few F-bombs of our own. I've kind of reached the point where, and maybe just in the last 24 hours, where I'm really kind of through with being judged. I don't care anymore. I'm terrible with a lot of things. I'm bad with money. I'm bad with numbers, as Trey Crowder says. And everyone's always thought I was undesirable anyway. When I was little, I was known as the little redheaded cripple girl. I thought it was funny when Charles Schulz made Charlie Brown's crush be the redheaded girl. Not the cripple girl, but the redheaded girl. I was the redheaded cripple girl. And, I've been judged all my life. People have not thought I was what they wanted, good enough, a real lawyer, a real writer. I've actually had people come to me and say they were hiring me because they couldn't afford a real lawyer. What does that mean? But I would say I went to lunch with a woman who lives here in the park. I won't say her name because she's very private. And she said one problem that she has living in a tiny house, and her house is bigger than mine. She said when you're stressed out with what you're doing, there's no place to go to do something else. So what she does, and it turns out what I do, is get in her car and drive. And I said, oh my gosh, I do the same thing. So that may be the long and short of the worst or most difficult thing about going tiny, which is that there's not much room. Now, it means you can't really escape your discontent, and maybe you escape it by becoming more content or accepting yourself. And until I get there, like this woman, I take a drive. Now, that's a pretty cool thing to do in the California Delta. It's beautiful. There's a lot of it, miles and miles and miles of river, and a lot of place to go and get away from whatever it is that's troubling me. But I can't do that in my house. And in my house in Kansas City, I had a front porch, I had a deck, I had a backyard, I had a basement, I had a second story. If I was feeling unsettled, I could go to another part of the house, and it was almost like being someplace else. Now, I have to actually go someplace else. So think about all these things when you're going tiny, and I'm going to go comb my hair and make a cup of tea and settle down for the night and figure out what to do with this broken shelf. I hope this has been a very helpful video, and I thank you for sharing a moment of my tiny life with me. I'll see you next time.